Team Justin Baldoni has said there's more evidence coming. Also, Blake Lively, you haven't won yet.
The judge just dropped a bombshell in Blake Lively's lawsuit, dismissing a key defendant but leaving the door open to refile. What's the real reason behind this legal twist, and how could it backfire on Lively herself? Get ready to uncover the hidden cracks in her case.
You're a fan of Justin. You were excited for the casting, and it sounds like you're just more annoyed that all this is distracted from what's important, the theme of the book and the movie, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're not you're not an anti-Blake content creator or part of any retaliation campaign?
No, I had people ask me if I was paid to speak positively on Justin or negatively on Blake. That's the thing too with the whole smear campaign. I don't know if anybody made a video about the marketing before I did. I know that kind of started after mine blew up. Nobody ever reached out to me. Nobody ever paid me. Nobody ever asked me to do that. Nobody put that opinion in my head. I saw the marketing when I was looking into, what's going on with them. I saw the marketing, went, and made that video. That's what happened.
Right. And as someone who watched your videos, you weren't being mean towards Blake. I mean, you were calling out the tone deaf approach, which I think is valid. And I'm looking at it objectively, which I know you're not trying to get in the middle or pick any sides. It's frustrating. It was interesting because we also spoke about the fact that maybe there was some big idea of like, look, let's not make this movie about DV because maybe we'll get more people in the theaters that way. And then they might see that type of relationship on screen. And then actually we got to them in a clever way, secret way. But as smart as that might have been, that's not what Blake was doing either, was it?
I don't think it was. No, that doesn't seem like.
Blake Lively's lawsuit just hit a major snag, and it's not looking good. The judge has officially dismissed one of the key players in her case, Jed Wallace, citing a venue transfer to Texas. Now, on the surface, this might seem like just a legal technicality. But when you dig a little deeper, it becomes clear that this decision exposes a much bigger problem with Lively's legal strategy. If anything, this is less of a roadblock for Wallace and more of a flashing warning sign for Lively. So, what exactly does the dismissal mean? Wallace, who was accused of orchestrating a retaliation campaign, argued that the allegations against him should be heard in Texas, where the supposed events took place. The judge agreed, releasing him from the case for now, while giving Lively the option to refile there. But here's the thing. Texas isn't just a new location. It's a completely different legal playing field. The laws, the evidentiary rules, the court procedures, they're all bound to be different. For Lively, that means her team has to shift gears and, in doing so, could unintentionally reveal more weaknesses in her argument. Think of it like pulling on the wrong thread of a tightly woven sweater. At first, it seems harmless, but before you know it, the entire thing has unraveled in front of you. That's where Lively's case appears to be heading. The judge also pointed out that all the requested evidence had already been provided, which raises a pretty significant question. If the evidence was already accessible, why was this argument even necessary? Lively's legal team might have unintentionally painted themselves into a corner by suggesting there was something missing or hidden when the court felt otherwise. And what about Jed Wallace? He claims innocence, of course, dismissing the notion that he managed a calculated smear campaign against Justin Baldoni. But even the host of Popcorn Planet isn't buying it. They flat out said, "I don't really believe all that. I'll be honest, I don't." The skepticism is palpable, and it only adds another layer of doubt to Lively's case against him. But here's what makes this dismissal so alarming for Lively. It's not just about the immediate roadblock of refiling in Texas. This shift could force her case into a system where her arguments and her evidence are scrutinized more heavily. Combine that with the whispers about how she allegedly gathered some of her evidence, and you've got a recipe for disaster. If anything, this dismissal isn't just a slip-up. It's the latest indication that her case might be more brittle than she'd like to admit. And that's where things get even murkier. What really happened during the evidence-gathering stage? There's already talk about questionable methods. And if those allegations hold any weight, we could see Lively's legal troubles snowball into something much larger. Stay with me, because the next part might make this entire situation a whole lot messier.
What's so frustrating, I talked about this on my Instagram, all the press is playing it like she won, like it's over, and it's not. Blake Lively didn't win. Justin just couldn't prove defamation. It's a huge distinction that Blake has now run with her statements, which I want to go through frustratingly to show how Blake is just out there. I saw She was on, her lawyers were live on CNN. They're doing a full court press tour. Kim, it's absolutely sickening the way she's trying to play this, like as if it's over and she won. Thankfully, Bryan Freedman has now finally come forward. We got his statement as well. But I wanted to share the statements. I wanted to react with Kim. Go ahead, Kim. You have some stuff prepared.
Well, basically, just since the announcement, Blake Lively has made a statement. She made one on her Instagram talking about standing with other organizations with love and gratitude for the many who stood by me. Many of you I don't like. I will never stop appreciating or advocating for you. So, listing all of these organizations. And then she also was seen stepping out last night at a Chanel event, essentially taking what the media is calling her victory lap, which, okay,
I saw
that's a
Amber
choice.
Tamblyn. I didn't get to read the header, but Amber Tamblyn was out there celebrating the win for. It's like a lot of these like super feminist celebrities are seemingly trying to back it up because it's like anybody who supports Amber Heard, I feel like is like, yay, we did it. And it's just really kind of sickening to me because this isn't a victory lap. You did not prove that Justin did what you said, Blake. That's what's really sick. Like some of the comments from her spokesman that the TMZ article had, she was just so proud that, she proved herself. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. It is so frustrating to see the media just eat it up, Kim, that we're like supposed to say it's over. Now, it's not great for Justin, but as I've talked to lawyers even since then, I read some more, this was expected in a way because the anti-slap laws in California and New York are like impossible. As Melcher said, that's why Johnny did it in Virginia, because it's a complicated one, Kim, because yes, there's a freedom of speech and all that. Like they have some benefit, but in a case like this, it's entirely frustrating because now, he can't get justice. So do you have Freedman's response? Because I thought
I do.
I'm glad they sort of waited and let the sort of Blake Lively press tour die down because I felt like Freedman just once again came in and was like, oh no, girl, we're not done.
How far is too far when it comes to winning a legal battle? That's the question hanging over Blake Lively's case as allegations emerge about how her team obtained private text messages from Stephanie Jones's phone. And these accusations aren't just whispers. They're loud enough to shake the foundation of her lawsuit. The host of Popcorn Planet didn't mince words, outright stating, "From my observation, she stole that phone illegally from Stephanie Jones. That's my opinion." Whether opinion or fact, a claim like that casts serious doubt on the legitimacy of Lively's evidence and raises troubling legal implications. Here's what's really at stake. If Lively's team accessed Stephanie Jones's text messages without proper authorization, they may have ventured into a deeply unethical and possibly illegal territory. Courts take the chain of custody and the method of acquiring evidence seriously, because improperly obtained evidence is often inadmissible. Imagine going into court with what you think is your ace card, only to be told you can't even play it. Worse yet, such tactics could backfire and result in heavier consequences: suppression of evidence, penalties, or in extreme cases, even criminal charges. This is a situation where the stakes aren't just high, they're potentially catastrophic. It doesn't end there. The host of Popcorn Planet also mentioned that the texts might have been obtained through a fake subpoena through a shell corporation. If true, this allegation paints a picture of extreme measures taken to bypass proper legal protocols. Think about that. A fake subpoena. That's a move that, if proven, goes beyond aggressive legal strategizing and enters the realm of deliberate deception. And that's not just sketchy. It could completely derail her entire case. Courts aren't known to look kindly on clear attempts to sidestep due process. The fallout from mishandling private data can be compared to opening Pandora's box. Once that lid is lifted, there's almost no way to control what comes out. Picture a situation where every move you've made to support your argument is scrutinized, every motive questioned, every piece of evidence challenged. Letting something like this slip isn't just unfortunate. It's a disaster that can spiral beyond the initial case, tarnishing reputations and leading to legal battles of its own. Courts tend to treat unauthorized evidence as more than just a procedural misstep. It represents a breach of trust in the system itself. It raises doubts about a party's integrity and credibility. And for someone in the public eye like Blake Lively, that credibility is her currency in both the courtroom and the court of public opinion. If these allegations are founded, it's not just her case that's at risk. This could be damaging on a level that goes well beyond the legal lines drawn in this courtroom drama. So, where does this leave Lively? If these claims about illegally accessing the texts hold up, the fallout could be staggering. Instead of solidifying her case, this evidence could turn it into a liability. Worse, depending on the court's reaction, these actions could transition from civil consequences to criminal charges, an outcome no one plans for when they enter a legal fight. And as the discovery phase heats up, the broader legal implications of this evidence controversy bring up another question. Why does it seem like Lively has all the tools, while Justin Baldoni is left empty-handed? The imbalance here might reveal even more cracks in her case.
Ms. Lively and her team's predictable declaration of victory is false. So let us be clear about the latest ruling. While the court dismissed defamation-related claims, the court has invited us to amend 4 out of the 7 claims against Ms. Lively, which will showcase additional evidence and refined allegations. This case is about false accusations of SH and retaliation in a non-existent smear campaign, which Ms. Lively's own team conveniently describes as untraceable because they cannot prove what never happened. Most importantly, Ms. Lively's own claims are no truer today than they were yesterday, and with the facts on our side, we will march forward with the same confidence that we had when Ms. Lively and her cohorts initiated this battle, and look forward to her forthcoming deposition, which I will be taking. Which is just... Oh my gosh.
For those that don't remember, Blake tried to make it so Bryan Freedman couldn't depose her as if she had a choice.
Yeah.
And who gets to depose her?
Yeah, she wanted to pick. I've never heard of that before. I didn't know that you could choose the lawyer that would depose you, but I learn something new every day. We are grateful for the organic show of support from the public and for the dedication of internet sleuth community who continue to cover the case with discernment and integrity. And that's from Bryan Freedman. So
yeah, well said. I mean, look, that's the best you could say right now, but it's encouraging to hear. And I like that he rephrased it. It's 4 of the 7 are still there, which is good. I didn't really. I thought it was less, but the way Melcher put it last night, because we were rushing to sort of get through that, but 4 to 7 are still there, so this isn't over.
When you step back and look at how this case is playing out, one thing becomes impossible to ignore: the stark imbalance between Blake Lively's access to evidence and the roadblocks Justin Baldoni has faced. On the surface, it might seem like Lively is just playing by the rules, but those rules don't look the same on Baldoni's side of the courtroom. The host of Popcorn Planet even questioned the fairness of it all, saying, "I'm struggling with whether that's really fair or not. I do feel like Justin needs discovery to find a lot of this evidence and have his day in court to prove a lot of it, just as Blake does." So, what does this look like in practice? According to the judge, all the evidence Blake had requested for her case had already been provided. No objections, no discovery frustrations, no denied access. But Baldoni, he's been denied discovery altogether, left to fight his way through the case without the one thing that could even the playing field. Imagine walking into a boxing ring blindfolded while your opponent not only has full vision but access to state-of-the-art gear. That's how one-sided this feels, and people are starting to notice. Discovery, for those unfamiliar, is how legal teams gather evidence from one another during a case. It's supposed to ensure fairness by giving both sides a shot at building their arguments. But when one person is granted the ability to access whatever they need, while the other is shut out, it creates a massive power imbalance. Baldoni's denied discovery requests didn't just leave gaps in his case. They left him vulnerable. Without access to certain evidence, it's nearly impossible to counter Lively's claims effectively. And if the evidence he needs is crucial to his side of the story, it calls into question whether the court has truly created a path for justice for both parties. What makes this even more unsettling is how it reflects deeper issues within the justice system. Is this just a case of crafty legal tactics, or does it reveal a broader bias within the system? The decision to dismiss Jed Wallace while leaving the door open for Lively to refile in Texas is a key example of how these disparities work. Baldoni wasn't given similar opportunities to revisit denied decisions, leaving him effectively boxed in, while Lively retains the advantage. As Popcorn Planet put it, "I guess it is fair. I'm just frustrated." This isn't just about the legal squabbles between two public figures. It's about perception. The court may be following procedure, but the imbalance is becoming more obvious to everyone watching. And when people see one party working with a full toolbox while the other's hands remain tied, it doesn't look like fairness. It looks like favoritism. This growing disparity might ultimately shift the tide of public opinion. Baldoni, once cast as the antagonist in this scenario, could very well find himself with newfound support, thanks to what many will start seeing as an unjust legal system stacked against him. But here's where it gets even more complicated. There's another layer to this dynamic: Jed Wallace. His role in Lively's case isn't just limited to his dismissal. Allegations of media manipulation tied to his name are swirling, and if true, could add an entirely new dimension to the case. Let's break down that piece next.
This is not 100% a win, as in Blake Lively has won her case. She absolutely has had a victory with this, in the sense that some of Justin's claims have been dismissed. Same as I believe Justin had a victory when Blake's claims of emotional distress came under fire, and now we know that's a lot more complicated. But ultimately, the most important thing here, to me at least, I know the retaliation campaign is important, but the claims that Blake Lively has made specifically against Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath regarding SH. Blake Lively has not proven that at this time. And it's really frustrating to see people running with this narrative like she's proven it when there has not been a day in court. And it's just all of this evidence that Justin still has can still likely come in to refute this when it is needed. So it's, to me, I just find that to be very frustrating. I'm interested in your thoughts, Andy.
No, 100%. I mean, the cat 10 barges are already out there. Like, oh yeah, look, the misogynists are out in force. Of course, this is a clear win, just like when Johnny lost in the UK. It's like, no, it's not. And it's not because we're misogynists. It's not because we're Justin lovers. Like, no offense, Justin. I'm not doing this because I'm a super fan of you. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. It's the truth. You're being railroaded, and anybody who actually reads these reports, unlike the Cats and Barges, they never read the full reports. They don't care. They just listen to the woman. And that's incredibly dangerous, because Blake Lively should not be a spokesperson for all victims and survivors. She's proven nothing. In fact, I feel like she's done such a detriment by connecting herself to these organizations and putting herself out there, that this is actually going to have real harm moving forward, just like Amber Heard did. These are two lone cases that have done such a disservice for women and survivors, and they should be called out. And it's made it harder for other people to come forward. No one should be exaggerating or lying about these types of things.
Behind the scenes of Blake Lively's lawsuit, there's a strange digital mystery brewing, and all eyes are on Jed Wallace. Allegations against Wallace claim that he orchestrated a social media campaign targeting Justin Baldoni, using tactics that Lively's team described as dirty retaliation. He's been accused of playing puppet master, pulling strings on platforms like Reddit to sway public opinion. Sounds shady, right? But Wallace insists there's nothing to it. He's denied these claims completely, saying he was only hired to analyze media trends and observe how Baldoni and Lively were being perceived online. According to Wallace, his job was straightforward. He reviewed media coverage, analyzed online sentiment, and simply observed social media chatter. He claims he didn't take any direct action or engage in manipulation, even insisting that much of the organic support Baldoni received online had nothing to do with him. In fact, Wallace has stated that he advised against any retaliatory strategies and wrapped up his work on the case back in November 2024. But here's where it gets murky. The judge's summary of the allegations paints a completely different picture. A picture of Wallace being involved in orchestrating a smear campaign aimed at discrediting Baldoni. These two accounts couldn't be more contradictory. The skepticism surrounding Wallace's claims hasn't gone unnoticed. The host of Popcorn Planet outright said, "I don't really believe all that, I'll be honest, I don't." The bluntness of their statement echoes what a lot of people are starting to think. Is Wallace's version of events just too clean to be true? Even if Wallace didn't plan some massive campaign, it's hard to ignore the possibility that minor actions on his part may have set off a chain reaction online. Think about how easily Reddit, a space where anonymous users can amplify just about anything, can become a battlefield. One small nudge in the right or wrong direction can snowball into a viral movement. That's the kind of influence a person like Wallace could have, even without doing much at all. But here's the thing, proving social media manipulation is no small feat. Investigating it often involves diving into mountains of obscure data, tracking IPs, analyzing user patterns and identifying fake accounts. And while Wallace says he stayed on the sidelines and simply observed, it's not hard to imagine how someone in his position could influence public opinion while technically keeping their hands clean. The reality is, social media is a battleground where perception shifts quickly, and invisible forces often call the shots. Whether Wallace was actively involved or not, his presence in this story adds a complicated new layer to what is already a messy case. What's undeniable is how much this alleged social media angle illustrates the chaotic nature of Lively's legal battle. It's not just happening in the courthouse. It's also playing out online in real time, leaving questions about what tactics are fair game. But Wallace's role, while minor compared to the bigger picture, isn't the only strategy raising eyebrows. There's another key player here: the media itself. Allegations that Lively coordinated with the New York Times to tighten her grip on the narrative just might add more fuel to this already roaring fire. When it comes to controlling the public narrative, the media can be a powerful weapon. That's what Blake Lively is being accused of, with claims that she worked hand in hand with the New York Times to release critical information about her lawsuit, before Justin Baldoni even had the chance to defend himself. The timing here is everything. According to the host of Popcorn Planet, Lively's coordination with the media was all about getting ahead of Baldoni, locking down the narrative before he could respond. And the host didn't hold back, outright saying, Blake, on the other hand, literally in cahoots with the New York Times. The accusations go beyond simple media strategy. The host alleges the New York Times rushed to publish a story with information directly supplied by Lively's team. This, they argue, wasn't about balanced reporting. It was about driving clicks and views. The New York Times didn't even give Justin the full amount of time to respond because they needed to jump on that story to get the clicks and the views, the host explained. If true, this move wasn't just proactive. It was calculated, designed to put Baldoni on the defensive and possibly tarnish his reputation before he had the chance to present his side. But here's where it starts to raise eyebrows. The host alleges there's metadata that backs up this claim, saying, the metadata proves it. They were getting the information first. Metadata, essentially digital fingerprints, can reveal exactly when and where certain files or communications originated. If this alleged proof connects Lively's team to the timing of the New York Times story, it suggests the coordination wasn't speculative, it was deliberate. That's a bold move, but it also comes with risks. Manipulating the timing and flow of information might win short-term victories, but it can backfire hard if the strategy is exposed. Imagine this situation as a chess game. In this scenario, Lively's alleged move would be like launching an aggressive attack while your opponent is still arranging their pieces. It's effective at first, until it isn't, because once you tip your hand and people realize what you're doing, the backlash can be severe. The host goes so far as to call out the New York Times approach outright, stating that their actions were not journalism and likening them to underhanded tactics. The fact that TMZ knew I was subpoenaed before me, that's crazy, the host added, suggesting this might not be the first lapse in fairness on the media's part. From an ethics standpoint, this alleged strategy raises serious concerns. Coordinating with the press to push a one-sided narrative risks undermining the integrity of the case itself. Courts typically operate under the belief that the legal process should do the talking, not coordinated media ambushes. And when the press appears too eager to publish without all sides accounted for, it can lead to questions about their impartiality. The host even suggested that the outlet's actions mirrored the kinds of behavior Lively's team accused Baldoni of, saying, the New York Times was being just as dirty as they're alleging Justin is. If this media maneuver was meant to paint Lively as the victim, the strategy might be wearing thin. Public opinion shifts, and if people start to see this as manipulative instead of smart, Lively could lose everything she's tried to gain. But that's only one piece of a broader story where every move seems to come with massive consequences, and it's all threatening to collapse at once. Blake Lively's legal situation is moving into dangerous territory, with every twist revealing deeper cracks in her case. The dismissal of Jed Wallace, while procedural on the surface, has unintentionally exposed larger weaknesses. Combined with the questions surrounding how her team allegedly obtained evidence, like those private texts from Stephanie Jones, the risks are mounting. The host of Popcorn Planet didn't hold back, questioning the integrity of such methods and hinting at potential legal repercussions. Could these tactics backfire and lead to more serious consequences? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This storm is far from over. Stay tuned.